Hello and welcome. Today on the show, we're going to say hello to Hellmann's and then quickly say goodbye. From Hellmann's, we're talking roasted red pepper sauce. Oh boy, stay tuned. Listener beware. We're really happy to have you tonight. This is Sauce Spoken.
And we're back. We are Sauce Spoken. We are three young saucical magi exploring the modern equivalents of frankincense, gold, and myrrh in the form of your favorite sauces, condiments, and dipping sauces, here on a divine mission from God. I'll be your co-host, Adam, also known as Big PPAP. I'm here with your co-host,
Hi, my name's Tori. I'm really happy to be here tonight, as always, and thank you for coming. And to my right, as always,
our guest.
Oh, no.
Eeyore.
Be nice.
Oh, wow.
He's here every week.
He's not capable of being nice. But it is fall, and I'm glad to be here. This is Eric.
I thought you were excited about fall. Like, I'm happy.
I am excited it's fall. It's been, highs and lows. Beginning of the week, I was not feeling too well. Since yesterday and today, I'm feeling much better. Been getting some stuff done, and work's been good. So a lot's happened since the last time we all got together. A couple weddings, and
it's amazing that we fit that all into 1 week.
Right?
Yeah.
It's been a busy week.
So we did.
And now it's suddenly fall, too.
We did have a brief hiatus there. Yeah, we skipped forward a season. It was basically summer last time, but we really kind of skipped like a month. I guess we can talk about that on air. We were kind of waffling about it earlier, but we did take a little bit of a hiatus.
I still like the weather, by the way, just for the record.
No, it's
really.
Yeah.
You look all bundled up and not.
No, I think
not
he's
happy.
saying he likes talking about the weather.
Well, yeah. I mean, the weather currently.
So
certainly.
you love this weather right now?
No.
I like
It's
this weather.
great.
Right now.
I like this weather too.
Well, the only redeeming quality about this weather is that it's sauna weather.
That's true.
So that in and of itself is a redeeming quality for me. It doesn't add anything in terms of any type of nature appreciation or anything like that. I still very much stay in my house when it's this cold.
I'm a big fan of the fall. It is a little bit cool. I do prefer when it's like mid 70s. I think that is, I'm settling on that as like ideal temperature for me outside. It's pleasant to work in. It's pleasant to do, if you want to go outside and do some exercise or something.
Yeah, I think 65, maybe to 69. Like your upper 60s is where my ideal temperature is, and right now it's been about like 62.
Nice. Yeah.
So it's been pretty cold right now. But
put the flannel sheets on, E.
Not really cold, honestly.
I mean, it's a little, I don't like it when it's rainy. That makes a big difference if it looks sunny and bright out,
Oh, absolutely. The sun will help it to feel much warmer, too, if it's a nice sunny day.
My thing is that, sometimes you can, this time of year, you can have pretty dramatic highs and lows between, like, the night and the morning or day. So sometimes you'll wake up and it'll be, in the 30s when you wake up, but it might warm all the way up to near 80.
At noon, right?
At noon, so,
Sure.
And then that's kind of like, well, I don't really like that because I'm freezing my ass off on the way to work. It's beautiful out while I'm at work, and then it's starting to get cool again by the time I'm leaving work. So I get to sit and look at the nice sunny day outside
Very nice.
through the one window I'm allotted.
At least you get a window.
It's from a distance, don't worry. So Tori, I believe you said that you had a little bit of a maybe a story this week.
Yeah, I mean, something I found a little bit funny after the fact.
That's how you got your name, right? Story. No, okay.
No,
I'll cut that.
No,
That's a stretch.
I had a funny story today. I was coming back. I work on the 8th floor at my building, so I was coming back from a vape break, whatever, and I was catching the elevator, and this fella behind me, he had a box, and he says, "Oh, do you mind if I catch the elevator with you?" Yeah, dude, I could care less. I mean, you could not measure how little I care. Be my guest.
Was it an extra small elevator? Was this a really large box?
No, of course not. No, it's your standard elevator. It's rickety as hell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you take your life in your own hands every time you press that button.
You work in insurance, too, which is another thing that we...
Well, we don't own the building, but we wouldn't insure it well if we did anyway.
Okay.
But that's beside the point. Yeah, so this fella, he gets on the elevator, and he says, "Oh, well, again, do you mind if I get on the elevator?" I said, "Of course not." So he gets in, I get a look at him, and he doesn't have a mask on. My goodness, I know. Can you imagine such a thing?
Filthy Republican.
Oh, goodness gracious. And so I say to this guy jokingly, after I seen him, I said, bro, I don't mind if you get in the elevator with me, dude. I could care less. Trust me. However, I don't know where you're going, but they may get upset with you.
Right. That makes sense.
You know,
I'll take it you're wearing a mask at this time.
You go to
I was wearing, I mean, that's, standard operating procedure out there.
Right.
Everyone's wearing a mask.
Should be, apparently.
Well,
my job has been super lax about it.
I guess, and I don't know if this fellow was delivering something. I don't know. I don't know what his story was. I mean, he was nice enough. I don't know. And I was making an obvious joke, right? I mean, that's all I do is make jokes, whether you're good, bad, or indifferent. After I thought about it, I'm not sure if he picked up on the gag. So I feel as if, I mean, given that situation, would you call me one of those Karen mask Nazis that you hear about, the SS maskers, the Gestapo masker?
I get myself in these situations all the time where I experience kind of a strange moment in life, and then I later think back on it and I think, oh, that person didn't realize I was joking, or I totally didn't pick up on what they were saying. Or sometimes people will be mad, like they'll be mad at me, and because I don't see an obvious reason for them to be mad at me, I'll assume that they're joking, and then later I'll find out that they were actually legitimately mad at me, and then that's awkward. Because I never know how to respond to that.
I mean, I think it's fair to say that I will never see this cat again, ever. In my days.
Especially not after he was escorted out in handcuffs for not having a mask on.
Well, I heard they had to tase him first, right?
You have to be concerned, right?
He dropped him down the elevator shaft.
Yeah, but it was just, it struck me as very bizarre. Because anywhere you go publicly, right? I mean, you might as well be Beijing. I mean,
it makes me wonder if I've done this a couple of times where I've I did this the other day, as a matter of fact. I was going to lunch with some of my coworkers, and I was planning to drive myself, because that's just kind of what I don't expect anyone to, be my courier, my chauffeur, The
courier.
So I was going to my car, and my coworker pulls up and says, hey, I'll give you a ride, hop in. Okay, sure, why not? So I got to the restaurant, and immediately realized, first thing, my wallet was in my car. That was one of the key reasons I wanted to go to my car, but I was immediately distracted. And then furthermore, I also did not have a mask on me, as that was also in my car.
You remember from elementary school, you remember the fart masks. You put your shirt up over your nose. You remember the
that was exactly what I did.
Nice.
I pulled my...
It works just as well as those dumbass other masks.
Right. Well, I had a denim jacket that I pulled over my face, and I looked like a total fool, because then, of course, no one else in the restaurant was wearing a mask either, so they just looked at me like I was an idiot. And my coworker had to pay for me, which then made me also look like a real idiot. I told the waitress, which is one of my favorite gags that never gets a laugh. I told her that me and my coworker were partners. So,
oh wow,
that's my go-to. Anytime I go with a man and we're paying together, I always tell him that we're dating. I always think it's going to be hilarious, and
yeah, I feel like that would really flop these days.
That's another thing, like we were saying.
He keeps trying it. I mean, this is probably the 5th week in a row, at least.
In my mind, I'm obviously joking, but I realize that that's not really a joke, that there are lots of people that would be perfectly serious about that. But I would imagine that if you're telling your waitress that, there's no real reason to tell them that unless it is a joke. That's not something.
He talks about his lame joke, though.
Hashtag woke. Well, it was a funny joke, I thought.
It's not a funny joke, but you've made it multiple times about other people in the group and whatnot, and it always flops. I don't know.
That could be part of my appeal.
I got it. Next time, just tell her, hey, I forgot my wallet because I'm a serial killer. And see how that one goes.
Yeah, that's good. I'll do that.
I always root for the bad guys, whether it's movies or... I don't
think that would play well, but... I
always root for the bad guy.
Funny, but...
Speaking of being chauffeured or couriered...
That's not a thing. I misspoke. I should not have said couriered, but if I was a parcel, then that would be correct. But
for being chauffeured from one place to another, I have actually never used Uber before.
Until when?
Until he hired it to hit that bicyclist the other week.
I did see a bicyclist get hit... in St. Louis. No, I don't think we did. No,
we didn't. We didn't make a reference to that in the podcast.
I think that came out after the fact.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah, that was after the fact.
Yeah, we can.
That to me was a blockbuster story. I mean, that was just too wild.
Yeah.
But so I was trying to get to St. Louis, and I had a flight. I woke up early to pack and get ready to go to the airport. I had to be there by 7. So I woke up at 5 a.m. and was throwing together some last minute things. I checked Uber to download the app first because I've never really taken an Uber before.
I'm a little insulted you didn't turn to one of us so we could refer you and get our freebie ride. They probably don't do that anymore, them cheapskates.
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do.
I think that was back when, because we got into that back when it was pretty new in the area, I think. Even,
yeah.
But it's kind of...
I took
Right. I mean, on that topic though, you did give me the code.
I took them for a ride. Anyway, I'm
You
sorry.
gave me the code when
That
we
was
went
too
to go to the soccer game a year ago.
Oh yeah,
And we all
that's right.
looked up the rates to go to the soccer game.
Right.
And,
And
it
you
was-
waited 35 minutes and paid $35 extra for it.
No, we didn't take it. We ended up not using it.
Yeah, you drove because it was too expensive.
Yeah.
That's beside the point.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
ahead with
yeah.
your story. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. It was too expensive. Well, my story is very similar. So I wake
then
up
we
at,
walked.
yeah, we
drove and walked. The
drove
combination
and
driving
walked.
and walking to save
And it was
$35.
absolutely worth it. It was a wonderful walk.
It was a
nice.
very
I
nice
enjoyed
night.
it.
Yeah.
But any chance
Anyway,
Anyway,
to
so
shit
please
on you.
continue. I'm sorry.
So I'm about ready to hit like. So
You're
I
gonna
look
hitchhike?
at the app. Yeah, I was going to hitchhike there basically because the cost was just insane. I wake up at 5 a.m. I'm looking at the app and it's telling me that it's going to be $29 to get to the airport. And the airport for me is literally like a maybe what I think it's maybe 10 miles.
Okay. Well,
And-
I think airport Ubers are particularly expensive. Is that correct?
Probably. That makes sense. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, that's very high. That's very expensive to me for a ride. And I'm also thinking, okay, when I get back from the airport, I'm going to have to pay this again to get
Right.
home. So then I look at the time frame of when I need to do this. I'm like, oh, well, actually, I need to go, I need to be picked up at like 7:45, right? It's a 15-minute drive to go 10 miles in the early morning hours of,
Good luck.
of a Saturday morning.
Good luck, brother.
And what time is your flight now?
My flight wasn't until 9. I need to be at the airport by 7.
Yeah, so that's
Give me
even
2
that's
hours.
pushing it. Honestly,
I
Like, they want
changed
you
the-
to wait your ass in the seat for 2 hours.
Domestic flight, right?
Domestic. Yeah, I was flying to St. Louis, Missouri. And I changed the time on the
You're
app.
going to a protest, right?
I'm going to a wedding.
All right.
And when I changed the time to 7, or to 6:40 a.m., it then jumps to $39 an hour. Or $39 for this trip to go, 10 miles. So
Okay.
Well, you can't
I
walk
was-
to an airport, though, bro.
I was livid. Well, no. So then I looked into the long-term parking,
Right.
and long-term parking is $8 a day at the airport,
Right.
Pittsburgh International Airport. And I'm only going for 1 day, or
Okay.
2 days. It would be Saturday and Sunday. I'd come
Okay.
back. So I'm like, all right, well, that'll be $16.
Right.
Perfect. Well, no, you have to reserve your spot prior to 24 hours of your flight. If you don't, then it's a $60 charge for long-term parking.
Nice.
They're waiting on dudes like you. You know
Yeah.
that.
Apparently, yeah.
They see you coming.
So yeah, the moral of the story is definitely to make your plans ahead of time and be more prepared. But what I ended up doing was I called a shuttle service, and they charged me $10 a day, and they shuttled me to the airport and back after parking in their parking lot.
You can ask you 2 questions.
$10 a day or $10
$10
per
a day.
ride?
$10 a day, so it was $20. That's all it cost me.
Per ride. $10 per ride for 2 days, correct? They weren't
Yeah.
charging you a daily rate.
Essentially, they were charging a daily rate. It's because you park at their parking lot, and then they shuttle you to the airport. So
Oh, okay,
it's called
alright,
Charlie
okay,
Brown's.
Oh, the
Airport.
spots or
Okay.
whatever. Yeah, I've
Okay,
seen them.
I got
yeah.
you now. All right, very good.
So I got it to work, but it was very frustrating. I was very unhappy with Uber, and I just
So
thought,
$20 total is what you're saying.
$20 total.
Okay, that's good.
I managed to figure it out. Believe me, I thought about waking you guys up and being like, "Hey, could one of you please take
Yeah,
me to
and
the
so
airport?"
I have 2 questions for you. One of which, why didn't you call one of us?
I believe me, I thought about it. I just didn't want to wake you up at 7 a.m. and so early.
7 a.m.
Well,
And what day
I
was
had
that?
to be there at 7. It was a Saturday.
And my second question is, how long did you know about this particular wedding that you neglected to?
Let's do an overround here. How about more or less than 6 months? Did you know in advance?
What's the OU on this? When did you get the
Probably
invitation?
slightly more than 6 months. Yeah, it was more than 6 months.
Yeah, we got a spread on
In
this.
famous E fashion, he left it until it was literally an emergency situation, and he could not put it off any longer.
Oh, I am the king of procrastination. I know it.
If if we're keeping on the gambling tip, I would have. I'd put a lot of money on the fact that the invitation's still probably in this house somewhere. It's probably
It's
maybe on
not.
that bookshelf.
I
Right? No.
threw it away. I actually threw it away.
Damn
Wow.
it.
How amazing.
Wow.
Your lost bet would have paid for his Uber ride to the airport.
Yeah, and he could have been taking an Uber ride. We could do Uber podcasts. I mean, it would be never
There
ending.
we go.
Yeah, you could stay in an Uber all day, every day for the amount of money I was.
I mean,
willing
I
to
know
wager.
people use Uber Eats, and people, my friends right here, you guys both have taken Ubers before. Every time I try and use Uber, it always seems way too expensive.
Wow.
Correction, I don't believe I have ever actually paid for an Uber before.
Oh,
I think I've only ever gotten, maybe I've gotten one free ride when we went a couple years ago to Night Nation Run, Tori.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember
I
that
think that's
night.
the only time I personally have ever used Uber.
Yeah. Boy, I use Uber. I'm not going to say I use it every day or anything like that, but boy, when you need it in a pinch, wow, it is good.
See, my girlfriend has used Uber, and she has called Ubers for a number of other people, too, for various situations, but she doesn't drink. So oftentimes, if I'm going somewhere where I think I may possibly want to Uber, she can just drive, and it's usually fine.
That's a real shame.
That she doesn't drink? Or yeah. No, I agree. I don't understand it, to be honest with you. It was a discussion we've had on numerous occasions, and I don't, because
God love her, though. I mean, she's a sweetheart.
She doesn't have a problem. Sometimes I joke when we go out places because I think that's a funny joke. Again, one of those other things that only I laugh at, chronic alcoholism, but I'll make jokes.
It's not a joke to some people.
That's no laughing matter.
Oh, I know it's not, but it's funny to me because she is so totally not the person who you would expect to be like that, and also not true to begin with. So in that case, I think it's funny. But I don't know. That's just
ride shares in general is supposed to be like a cheaper alternative, I thought, to a yellow cab.
That's definitely not a ride share, dog. I mean, that's a taxi in a private person's car.
Yeah, you can get what do they call it? Uber Pool or something like that?
Oh hell, I don't know.
I think it's an Uber Pool that you can share the Uber with other people, and that. If I had to guess,
truly a ride share. Okay.
Right, and I think that would definitely be cheaper because you'd be splitting the cost. I mean, it's more overall, but you're splitting it amongst people too.
Yeah. So, jeez, you might as well take the bus. I mean, a ride to work may take 3 hours.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, I assume that they would all be going to the airport in that instance.
In that instance, you'd all have a common destination.
I mean, they would probably be picking people up, so you may have to wait while they do that.
That's reasonable. That's fair, yeah.
I'm not sure how the pricing algorithm works on that. You have to investigate.
Them eggheads got to figure it out. Them nerds got to figure it out.
Because I would think that if you're getting picked up last, you'd be paying more almost for that, I would think, because it's a bit of a privilege to be the last, picked up. You'd have to wait in the car.
That's just sort of how it works out, though, right? I mean,
I don't know. I think Uber has an office in Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe, yeah.
We could drive down. We could get an Uber down there and ask them. How their algorithm works. Could you?
Hey, can you come pick me up? I want to talk to your CEO.
We were kind of pitching the idea of maybe having a guest on here. We could maybe have someone from Uber come down and talk to us about algorithms. That could be a special episode of a food podcast that we talked about algorithms.
So that'll really keep our listeners awake.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
we'll inject a certain degree of nerdiness that we haven't touched on yet.
But anyways, I made it to the airport. I got my flight, I zoomed out to St. Louis and was there for the wedding and zoomed back pretty much. It was very much like a quick burn and turn, and it all worked out. So,
where did you buy your wife from?
I did not get married. I did not have anyone to go with me. I was, what is that called?
Going
stag. That's right. Stag.
This is going to have some overlap with our usual discussion on E's dating life.
No.
Did you meet any nice women or men at the...
No.
At the wedding, you didn't? Did you have anyone to dance with?
Nope.
Did you even ask?
I did not. Did
you get hammered drunk?
No, I didn't do that either.
Why did you go to the wedding then? You went all this way. You didn't drink. I
wanted to see family. I wanted to be there for my cousin.
Did you ask any of your family members to dance with you?
We were pretty much a lot of masks. And a lot of the dance floor was sadly. There was maybe 10 girls, very young, like little girls out there dancing.
That's your type, correct?
And no,
you were dancing amongst them, right in the middle of all 10.
Come on, that's enough of that.
Yeah, the dancing, and actually it was funny. I was talking to my cousin. She said that by staying with, they actually postponed, but their venue, due to COVID restrictions, had to give them an upgrade.
Really?
So they gave them the bigger hall, and the DJ came with the hall. They weren't even going to have a DJ.
So they saved money because of COVID.
Yeah,
essentially.
Good for them.
How crazy is that?
Outstanding.
Well.
Were you very?
But
close
nobody
to
really
these cousins?
danced. So yeah, I'm pretty close with mine.
Yeah,
and it's technically my first cousin once removed. It's my cousin's kids.
You got a big family, brother.
I do.
Oh, my.
So, Tori, you were telling us a little bit earlier about your drink of choice there. A little bit of throwback retro styling on your...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's real good. It's a Yingling beer, of course. It's the oldest brewery, I think, ever, or in the world or something.
In the United States,
US.
maybe. Yeah,
maybe in the United States.
It looks like, what does it say, 1829 on there?
1829.
We were talking earlier about their throwback can, the red and white.
Little pinstripe in there, too.
Oh, yeah. See,
it's
almost
nice.
like a baseball jersey or something is what it looks like.
Yeah,
you're saying you thought it maybe tastes a little off, too. Tastes a little stale.
Well, yeah. My first one did. And that's probably because I was drinking even cheaper beer than this prior to my first one. So That may have tainted the taste. And I looked at the can, and it's sort of retro. And to be very honest with you, that's what drawn me to it, believe it or not. I'm a sucker for good marketing, especially this throwback stuff. And so I got the can, and I thought, wow, this can may be from 1982, or this particular case may be. They found the case like the old E.T. games buried out in the desert. We found this old pallet of Yuengling beer that's been lost and forgotten about since, the Second World War.
Now, if we have any listeners who maybe don't know the traditional Yuengling lager bottle or cans, they're all like gold and red.
It's green.
The green bottle, yeah. The translucent green bottle.
And they have an eagle on them,
yes.
I think. And then the script is very like, the name Yuengling is written in a script.
Right. I would say so, yeah. Very calligraphy.
Like calligraphy. But this new one, this retro one, I really like the...
I think it's sort of awesome. I think it's cool.
It's
very
jersey.
cool. It
definitely looks like a baseball jersey.
Well, I like how very different it is. It's extremely different.
It is definitely pretty much stark opposite of their normal because of the white. And their cans are normally like almost like a maroonish color, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, the red.
Oh, yeah. And this is, like I said, very different.
I like it.
It's cool. A premium beer. What can I say? I only drink the finest. I'm an athlete. To say the absolute least. So I only put the finest in this body, and of course that is Yuengling beer.
You have worn baseball jerseys.
Not sponsored. # haul at me Yuengling. I'm on Instagram.
Very good.
Thank you.
I actually had a little bit of a note I wanted to make about Yuengling. I was thinking about this. This was a shower thought I was thinking the other day. While I was having a shower beer, not one of these two, but what I was thinking about is that Yuengling and Guinness are almost the opposites. Now, if you talk about like types of beers, obviously that's not going to make a whole lot of sense. And I'm going to kind of pull this together, I hope. My thinking on this was, and I didn't mean as far as like flavor and taste, I guess, although they are kind of very different in that respect too, but I wouldn't say opposites. But what I was getting around to there was that, especially in Pennsylvania, for those of you who don't know, Yuengling's very popular out here, and I would say that's kind of like almost like a default beer.
Pottsville, PA, of course.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But I think, in Ohio, being from Ohio, I know that's still pretty popular out there, but you're not going to find it in every bar you go to. That's kind of how that works. You'll see more like the Great Lakes. But the one thing I was thinking about is that, at least out here, East Coast, Yuengling is kind of like the great neutral beer. Like people who are like craft beer snobs and only like to drink nicer beers, Yuengling is kind of like the lowest of the beers that they would drink, but they would probably still drink it. Whereas for people
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I'm an aristocrat now. A low-end aristocrat.
No, well, yeah. Whereas for people who like a more, like a cheaper, a light beer, a domestic beer, something like that, they might look up at Yuengling as being kind of almost like a fancy beer, but it's still in their wheelhouse of beers. That's kind of like the thing that everyone can agree on. It's the lowest.
Are you trying to insult me? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that everyone likes it. It's the lowest beer of that high tier beer category that people like, because it's still a strongly flavored beer. It's not like, for example, versus like a Miller or like a Bud Light. It certainly has a lot of flavor to it.
Well, again, you're talking different types of beer. I mean, a Miller, and those are all Pilsners. This is a lager.
That's just trash.
I'm not getting too deep into the weeds here, but my point was kind of like people who drink cheap beer, for lack of a better word, will still drink Yuengling as the top of their line. People who drink more expensive craft beer will still drink Yuengling at kind of the bottom of their line.
Okay.
Which wraps into my point I was trying to make as to how I feel like Guinness is almost the opposite of that. Because people who like craft beer typically would not go, like Guinness would be kind of like, especially if you're really into porters and stouts, you look at Guinness as kind of like your entry point, like something you're not going to go for. Whereas a Guinness, for a lot of people who drink cheaper beers, they look at that as something they would totally stay away from. So it's almost kind of like something that both a higher end beer people and lower end beer people would mutually avoid.
Can I poke a hole in that logic?
Yeah, sure.
Guinness sucks. It's horrible.
And
I wouldn't drink it even. I wouldn't drink it if I was dying of thirst.
That proves my exact point.
That is interesting, because I actually use Guinness as the, like, when people talk about, I want to try a stout or something, I say, well, you should try a Guinness first. It's like the Budweiser of stouts, because it is like the most mild, non-offensive stouty beer.
It's almost really not a stout. I mean, I know they advertise it as a stout, but in my mind, you think of a stout, you think of there's going to be strong alcohol taste. It's going to be kind of bitter almost, whereas I think more of like Guinness falls into the line of more like a porter.
Yeah.
It's more creamy. That's for
I prefer
sure.
not to enjoy my beer with a knife and a fork. I like to drink it.
I'm a big fan of Guinness, but
I'm a huge fan of Guinness.
I was thinking that as someone who will drink anything from Bud Light up through Yuengling and Guinness all the way to some...
Hey, I have standards. I won't drink Bud Light, okay? Let's just call it.
Weren't you talking about switching to Natty Light or something like that the other day?
Oh, I drank Busch beer for a good while. Beer, and I was on the High Life for a long while, too. I drank Miller High Life for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think Miller's another good kind of like classic equalizer beer. I think that's another one that's close to Yuengling in terms of acceptance.
Are you talking High Life? You talking MGD?
I like MGD.
I was thinking High Life specifically, but I guess probably MGD, too, for that matter. I think Miller tends to have a little bit more of a taste, if anything. That might just be my personal.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, it all comes down to personal preference. I mean, I think Coors is just trash. I'll actually drink a Budweiser over a Coors.
I kind of grew up on like a Bud Light, so I have a little bit of a fond place for it in my heart as a younger man drinking beer.
I get you.
The first beer I ever legally purchased was Sam Adams Oktoberfest, and I thought. A lot of times when you're first getting into something, you think, okay, and I was not, I maybe had a few beers prior to my 21st, but I was never one of those kids.
Just a few, right?
No, seriously, I really wasn't one of those kids who was out drinking all the time. A lot of times, like the first thing you pick of something does not end up being your favorite. And I have to say, even, having some experience with drinking beer now, I think Oktoberfest is still one of my favorites.
I fully agree. Oktoberfest
is dang good.
Great.
Yeah, it's good.
There's your ringing endorsement. Three of us. Very different beer tastes. All agree on the Yuengling. All agree on Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
Yeah, Sam Adams Oktoberfest is really good.
It's always been a winner, that's for sure. And then, there's a lot of breweries. There's brewery. We could talk all night about.
You are the brewery bro.
Yeah, you are a bit of the snob. I view mine as kind of like, Tori, I think you tend to prefer some more like another local staple is Iron City.
Absolutely.
Right. Which I would think you could, maybe unfairly lump into a lower tiered beer.
It's absolutely it's cheap.
Now, Iron City, that's a lager too, isn't it?
Yes.
It technically is a lager.
As opposed to a pilsner.
That's what it says on the can.
That's what it says on the can.
Although I think
it's not brewed on the north side no more. It's brewed up in Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Right.
But it is not as full-bodied or flavorful as Yuengling. It's
Dog,
definitely
I don't know what the hell.
Okay.
When you talk
I
all this
agree with
rabbit shit, it's
Thank you.
Get out of here with that. I don't know. I mean, is it $20 a case? Yes. Okay. Is it full-bodied? Is it flavor? I have a flower. So get the fuck out of here.
What type of glass would you serve that in?
Out of the can. I'd snap it open in the can and drink it in 2 seconds.
Have you seen that there's a device that you can remove the entire top of the beer can with? Someone at this table has bought several of them.
It's called Draft Topless. A little plug there for them.
I'll open up my gullet and we can just dump all 12 ounces down
another Kickstarter.
right at once.
Yes, is another Kickstarter. It's a good one, though. It's goofy. Actually, so I went to another wedding in, where was that? North Carolina. And particularly the Asheville area. And I don't know if either of you know, but Asheville's kind of like the north side of the U.S. Northeastern side of the U.S., like capital for craft breweries. I think there's 44 craft breweries in that one little city.
Okay.
You couldn't walk down the street without cleaning out the inside of his jeans.
It was a good experience. I don't know if it was that good.
I was trying to be
clear. Yeah,
thanks.
Yeah, we all got that.
Okay.
Thanks. I think our listeners would have gotten that too.
Sliming down the inside, walking down like a slug. Anyways.
I went to Green Man Brewing Company. I went to Burial and went to Highwire. And who else did I go to? We went to we hit up
Did you go to the Yellow Unicorn, dog? Do you know that one down there?
Don't know that one.
You didn't catch that one? No.
What about the Grumbly Grizzly?
There was the Bumpy Bowling Ball. Did you rap at that one?
What about the Burbling Werblorb?
All good names. I think you guys should start your own brewing company.
Well, hey, we got a good name. I mean, I know how to drink beer, so screw it.
I know everything.
Why not? What more do you need to know?
What more do you need to know?
Me and some of my buddies years ago tried to make some beers with one of those home Mr. Beer kits.
Yeah, how'd that turn out?
Well, it was an interesting experience. We had a great time making it, I will say.
Well, you're not blind or sterile, so...
That's true. We didn't pay the closest attentions to the sterilizing of the containers, however, which I think was a bit of a problem. And we were having some beer during the making of this, but we did successfully make some beer in this kit.
That's cool.
And I know that there are certain different types of beers. You get into some that are a little bit more cloudy than others. You get some different wheat beers, which maybe have a bit of a creamier taste or something. I've never had before that day a beer that I would describe as chunky.
Ew. Knife and fork beer.
Extremely unfiltered, huh?
Yeah, there were some clumps in it, which I found, and there was a little bit of a sediment accumulated at the bottom, which I feel like it probably would have benefited from some filtration or something like that.
Oh.
But it wasn't.
I like garbage beer, but dude, I mean, you gotta draw a line.
The beer itself wasn't terrible.
Like people pay good money for that kind of beer, like the filthy, like unfiltered, all that like sediment and whatnot in there. They can tend to be pricey beers.
So what sediment are we talking about? Like what?
It's brewing. It's your hops. Could be
I would
like
say probably
coriander,
yeast,
peat moss, all that good stuff that's in there.
We didn't put any moss in our beer.
Yeah, peat moss, cool.
I'm actually not
Gonna
sure
get some sand in there.
Porters and stouts have peat moss in them.
Oh, okay.
That sounds awful.
Speaking of awful, this is going to be it's a good segue.
As good as any.
We're definitely going to be we're going to put it forefront on this one here, but this week for our sauce, what we're actually getting to is entitled the Hellmann's Roasted Red Pepper Sauce. Now this is by the Hellmann's of mayonnaise fame. E, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of a description of the bottle this thing came in here. It's a smaller bottle. What is that? Maybe a 6 ounce or something?
It's actually a 9 ounce. It does look small. It's like an elongated pill. Looks
pop can is 12 ounce. So I think if you're saying that's 9 ounce, it's like almost like a skinny pop can size.
Skinny pop can, but extremely rounded edges on the top that come up to a blue pour nozzle. Actually, a very, very conical nozzle for very accurate drizzling, I guess is maybe the intent.
Almost looks like a baby bottle.
Yeah, almost looks like a baby bottle.
Which is funny because Tori and I did have to stop you from putting the bottle directly into your mouth and suckling on it.
I mean, imagine a nipple on the top of a bottle.
Right. He saw that and just went mad with lust. He couldn't stop himself from the blue nipple.
Whoa.
The label on it's also tan, and with the Hellmann's logo in blue and white. It says roasted red pepper, has pictures of roasted red peppers behind it. The sauce itself looks like a cream of like a tomato soup, basically, kind of red.
Or roasted red pepper soup, if you would.
Roasted red pepper soup, yep. Yeah. And it is pretty
viscous.
What did we
is it viscous or not? That's the big question.
I don't remember. Are you trying to say it's thick or thin? Just say thick or thin.
It's pretty thin.
I'm not even sure what you're trying to get at either.
Okay. It
has a lower viscosity, I think.
Lowest common denominator.
Sure, take
is
a hard stance. We'll check
not?
it later. Say I'd like to take a hard stance on this. That's the cue for our listeners to blast us.
Yeah.
When we're wrong. I actually, before we go too much further, I am curious, could you give us just a brief rundown on the ingredients? Because I know it's something we joke about, but I actually really want to know what's in this thing, and we didn't get to that earlier.
Yeah, we really didn't look at it. Okay, so first ingredient is water.
Okay, makes sense.
So it is watery then. So
that's interesting.
It's proven.
Then it's canola oil, roasted red bell puree, roasted bell pepper puree, sugar, modified cornstarch, distilled vinegar, onion juice. Onion juice.
Onion juice?
Yeah. Gargle with onion juice in the morning.
Some more salt, tomato paste.
A new V8 flavor. Onion juice.
Citric acid and garlic puree.
Huh.
Wow.
Well, okay. So, where was sugar in that? Is there sugar?
High fructose corn syrup. Was there somewhere?
It's it's sugar. It was right after the roasted red pepper puree. So it's the fourth ingredient in.
Fourth? Okay. I was curious on that.
To try and sweeten it up. I don't think they really,
well, that's kind of getting into it. I mean, who actually tried this for? Well, you suggested we don't always get to this either. But what I wanted to say was we tried it this week. You had a suggestion, based off a not their serving suggestion, but you had a suggestion based on some ingredients I believe you had at your house, which were some it was like a whole grain cracker.
Yeah, wheat crackers and some turkey breast lunch meat.
Is that a flavored turkey, just straight up turkey?
It's oven roasted turkey breast. So.
Now, what were their serving suggestions on the bottle? I think they had a few, right?
Doesn't that matter for a sauce in America? Really?
Serving suggestions?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious. If they say something, I feel like maybe we didn't try it on what they suggested. I know that.
Right. They say to try with salads, pizza,
for how much
and
of it?
More. Well, it says it's made for dipping, for drizzling, and for dressing.
I looked at that on the side. I think where it says drizzling, it looks like a Sharpie. It looks like they wrote with a Sharpie.
Yeah.
Which I think the smell of a Sharpie, We're getting, to me, that was probably closer to what I was tasting with the sauce, but we're getting into a little fast there.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And it almost looks like if you were in Microsoft Word,
yes,
and there was an icon that you could press
like
to
clip art?
Maybe draw something, maybe some clip art or something like that. That's very, very reminiscent.
It is, but having used that nozzle, that control, the flow coming out of that is actually, you could do that line. You could do
but the bottle's
lines, dots.
hard.
You could actually like I think if you're a food artist, you would find this a perfect
The nozzle
bottle.
had good control, but the bottle itself was kind of hard. You really had to, and I'm always nervous when that happens. I'm afraid I'm going to blast it all over whatever I'm putting it on.
Yeah.
This is not a sauce I wanted to blast on anything. Except for down the drain.
I may be jumping the gun a little bit here, but the bottle can be great, the nozzle can be great, but I don't like the sauce.
When the content's
inside of
great.
it. Yeah, this could be a great nozzle, but it's
we're being very forward.
it's
about how we feel
radioactive.
about
Yeah,
this.
right. Yeah.
Well, why don't you kind of hit us off there with some of your initial tasting notes? Before we dive into telling people what they're going to think.
All right. Well,
Notes.
which direction in the sense wise? I took a little different direction on my note taking technique this evening. So
okay,
I've noted the senses.
Yeah, all the senses.
Well, as much as a sauce can be, yeah. I mean, so I hit on smell, how it looks, and how it tastes. So I'm curious as to. I think I have pretty interesting insights. Of course, I do.
You missed earlier when you were in the bathroom, where we also had a fourth sense to your list. There, E was showing us how the sauce sounds. Why don't you go and give it a little bit? We'll see if we can get it on now for the podcast listeners.
Get some farts.
Let's try this.
Sauce farts.
Absolutely nauseating.
Well done. Yeah.
This is going along with the ASMR.
Wow.
It makes sense that the first ingredient's water.
Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear at this point with all of our tasteless jokes that it was. I mean, it was bad. I mean, I know I didn't like it at all. It smelled. I know I'm a big smell guy. Of course, I made the comment. I think I have Superman's nose.
Well, you made a lot of comments about. You knew what it smelled like, but you didn't elucidate on that earlier. Would you like to clear that up? What
I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I have two very distinct smells in my brain. One of which is stuffed peppers.
Okay.
You ever make stuffed?
Oh yeah,
you stuff
Makes
peppers.
sense.
Sure.
You get the red tomato sauce with the meat, by the way. And I think that's an interesting point because the second point sort of plays into that.
Okay.
And buffalo chicken wings, but not just buffalo chicken wing sauce.
The wings,
the whole package.
Right.
Yeah, you have a plate in front of you, the chicken, the sauce, the whole package, which I think is interesting for a sauce to achieve. In my mind,
that was just from the smell. You're saying
that was just the smell.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, those would actually sound like good smells, really.
Right? Yeah, very enticing smells. I didn't get any of the sweetness off the smell. But there was a certain chickeniness or a certain meatiness. I don't know with the smell. I can't describe it.
I didn't get that at all.
I didn't get that
the color is, I would say, spot on for like a buffalo chicken wing.
Absolutely. Orangey, reddish.
Creamy, orangey color almost.
Got some flecks in it.
Yeah, got some flecks. It definitely looks like, there's the buffalo sauce and then there's like the wing sauce when they add in like the garlic and butter and all that stuff. This definitely looks like that to me, like a well-coated
This could be a number of things. This could be French dressing.
Yeah, that's a very good point as well.
You know what's interesting is I think this is the first sauce that we've had on that doesn't have vinegar.
It does have vinegar.
This does have vinegar?
Yeah, you read
that.
You just read the damn ingredients.
Oh, yeah, it does have distilled vinegar. Okay.
Oh, damn.
I think pretty much any sauce you're going to get is going to have some vinegar element, at least if nothing else, preservative.
Preservation is right.
Sure.
So what else taste-wise? You kind of started into that a little bit there.
Well, to me, honest to goodness, it tastes as though if I were to go down to my garden, grab a pepper off the stalk, bite it, and eat it.
Wow. Well, that sounds like a ringing endorsement.
You would think that. However, this may be, as the kids say, TMI. This may be TMI for you, but I'm burping it like crazy. And it's gross. And it's not good. And it's sort of, and I don't know if you guys are, the whole like cucumber belchiness.
Yes. Sure.
That's sort of what it's calling back to. Yeah. And I don't like it.
I think that's common for a lot of people with peppers and cucumbers.
I like peppers though. And I like cucumbers.
But they don't talk back to you.
No.
Well, that's interesting.
Typically not. It's
I think
this
cucumbers
sauce
I get it a lot from, even small amounts of cucumber.
They grow cucumbers specifically for burpless.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I don't actually mind the burps as much, I guess. Maybe other people do, but they don't really bother me. But it is something I notice.
Yeah, there's a specific species or whatever of cucumber that's a burpless cucumber. I don't know whether or not it works or not.
Interesting.
That's very
But
interesting.
cucumbers don't bother me. Regular peppers don't bother me. But forever, this sauce, I'm burping it like crazy, and it's disgusting. So, I mean, that is certainly no ringing endorsement.
Now,
Wouldn't happen to be the 8th beer.
I would appreciate if you wouldn't judge me.
I think you mean
Okay,
his second
I just
beer,
mean,
thank
there's
you.
a safe space for me.
There's a lot of carbonation there. Maybe you're just burping.
Well, possibly.
But you're saying
How much
these,
beer do you have left, E?
These
Not
all,
much.
These all kind of sound like not bad things, except for the burping. That's kind of like an after effect. But I think even prior to this, your initial tastes, you didn't really care for it, did you?
No, I really didn't care for it. I was excited as hell because it's the first time I made a note that matched up with the ingredients. And it was pureed peppers. That was pureed peppers ? Was in my notes here. However, I don't think that there's one iota of roasted or char. And they really play up this whole roasted and char idea on here at least twice.
Okay.
To my knowledge. So yeah, to me, it tasted as if you would take a handful of peppers out of the back of your garden, some spicy, some not, puree the hell out of them, throw it in this, honest to goodness, pretty attractive bottle.
Yeah, the bottle looks great.
I mean, it's a nice bottle. It's a shame that the sauce inside it sucks.
Right.
Because, I mean, to have this type of sniper precision sauce on whatever the hell you're eating, I think would be a gift. But I won't be using this bottle and I won't be using this sauce. But at any rate, yeah, it tastes like pepper puree that makes me burp like hell.
You know, it's interesting you say it smells like chicken wings, or you get that like initial smell of chicken wings.
Absolutely.
I wonder do you think this would taste better on, although we did try it on turkey lunch meat, but lunch meat's very different than like if you just had a chicken breast or a chicken wing, you know, like real chicken meat. No.
There's too many good things for chicken wings.
Sure.
Right.
This would be maybe like 588th on the list.
Yeah, I agree. This would be very
Yeah.
low. There's so many things I'd rather have, including probably just a plain chicken wing.
Yeah, how about that goofy place you used to take us to? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like what? Chocolate covered cherry wings and
Yeah.
some goofy shit
This would
like
definitely
that?
make an appearance there, and it would
Yeah.
not be the weirdest
Oh,
one.
yeah. That would not be the weirdest, but it would be the lowest selling.
They had a peanut butter and jelly wing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like I said, I think you said like a chocolate wing. Has
Yeah,
all
some
kinds of
goofy
wild flavors.
shit.
I think it's interesting because some of the tasting notes I got off this were, I definitely noticed some sort of a char, I guess. My whole initial thing was that I tasted it, the first thing out of my mouth, and I just tried it, I decided to not utilize the turkey lunch meat, and I just put it on a plain whole grain cracker. And my initial exclamation was that I thought it tasted like burnt leaves.
Wow.
Kind of that acrid smell. That was the way I wanted
That's
to describe
vivid.
it.
And that really paints a picture.
Yeah, that was what I got out of it. Strong.
Burnt leaves. The way burnt leaves, well, let me ask you this. Is it the way you think burnt leaves would taste, or is it the way burnt leaves smell?
Yeah, smell. It
Okay.
tastes the way that they smell. And then
Okay.
I did smell some afterwards, and I definitely got some notes of, I thought smokiness. So I think it's interesting that you're saying that you totally thought that was neglected.
I got 0.
So-
I guess I applaud them on what I would consider the freshness of their pepper.
Yeah.
It honestly goes, you take peppers out of the good and
They do seem to play that up a lot here, both on the bottle and on the website. They said, feeling some Mediterranean flavor?
oh, come on.
Our roasted red pepper sauce is made with real roasted pepper for that classic charred pepper taste. And then they put some other bullshit on there too. They did say to try this on salads, which I'm a little bit interesting now because once I kind of got past that initial immediate dislike, the things I noticed were...
It was only a mild dislike.
Yeah, an extreme dislike. The things I noticed, well, I did try it several times, to be fair. It was not that repulsive, but the things I did notice were a lot of sweetness and a lot of vinegar. In that end, I think that maybe if you mix this with some oil or something, you might be able to make some sort of a salad dressing out of this that was capable. But yeah, that was my initial thing. There was essentially sweetness right off the bat, immediately followed by a baseball bat of vinegar, overwhelming sense of burnt leaves, and I did not feel like I needed to continue. I did try it on 3. I thought maybe it was just the cracker at first, because you have a habit of salvaging used food from places, so I did want to try it. I tried some
I can't even deny it.
I tried a little dollop on we're talking about E, and for those who don't know this already, we've discussed this before, but E has a habit of, he doesn't like to pay for food. He gets it any way he can get it for free.
I have
Calories are calories, dog.
I have a whole thing, a tray of macaroni and cheese I just got from work.
You took a picture, you sent us a picture today from work of 3 bottles of sauces, and then you said that they were from your work and you're considering stealing them for us to taste these half-open bottles of sauce that your entire coworkers had all used during the midst of a pandemic.
Yep, that is accurate.
Thank you for putting our safety first, Steve.
For the record, we've said this before, we try to taste sauces that have been unopened and are whatever temperature they seem like they're supposed to be served at, which I generally take to be room temperature unless otherwise specified.
The temperature they were served at 3 months ago.
Yeah. Your wife brought up another thing interesting this week, Tori, that we were kind of touching on, that I was also reminded by Eric's choice of used barbecue sauces from his work, which is when you let a bottle sit too long in your fridge and you get kind of the side goop on the bottle. She was expressing a distinct dislike for that this week in the group chat.
God love her, God bless her, of course. But she has I feel bad talking about her. She's not here, but as far as when things sit in the fridge for too long, and I always make the joke because my grandmother made the joke a long time ago about mustard, and I was jerking her around because she don't eat mustard or ketchup or none of this, and I was Graham, your mustard goes eventually goes bad, and she's like, well, how the hell are you supposed to eat mustard with a spoon, and eat it like that. And so I use that same gag with her, well, that mustard's been in there for 6 months. Well, what the hell do you expect me to do? Mustard is good, of course, but as we know, as sauce experts,
right?
Mustard's only good on, a number of things. So it's, I got off on quite the tangent there on my wife and her sauces in the refrigerator, but it's quite the adventure. Yeah.
Once again, we are getting into quite the ASMR for our listeners here, with first the sauce slopping around and then Tori's, I don't want to even attempt to repeat that sound.
What sound was that?
You're eating the mustard sound.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
I did want to, we'll get to you here in a second. I wanted to read a review really quick because it's relevant to, I think, something Tori said about the chicken. This is from a reviewer named Chrissy on the Hellmann's website. She said, I used this sauce in my crock pot with chicken. It simmered for 5 hours and the sauce tasted so good.
And it was still awful.
It has just enough spice with just enough heat. I didn't need to add any other spices like salt or pepper.
Is that Mrs. Kraft's mom or Mr. Kraft's mom?
Yeah, that's my old lady voice. It's not very good, but
I'm not asking about your voice. I mean, who wrote the review? Is that
Chrissy?
Is that
at Chrissy?
Is that the CEO's mama or the CFO's mom?
It is the top review on their website. This person's probably going to get pissed at us now. Sorry, Chrissy. You put your shit out on a public website.
I'm not sorry.
Blasted.
I'm not sorry, Chrissy.
I didn't read your full review either. And to be fair, I think she had a relevant point there. I wasn't really trying to make fun of her.
I think she's married to the CFO.
She's Chrissy Hellmann, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It does say Chrissy Hellmann. No.
Oh, well, funny. Ooh.
No, it doesn't say that. No, she was brought up the thing about chicken as well, so maybe that is I didn't feel the need to try it on the turkey, but maybe it's better on chicken breast, like you're saying. But
like a real chicken breast, like real meat. And like simmered, too, you'd probably bring out different flavors, maybe cook off some of the water. I don't know.
Well, I think that a lot of times you put sauce in a crock pot, it really tones down the flavor of the sauce, too.
Oh, yeah. You are cooking the water out, so that may or may not.
Well, I think you're also watering it down with a lot of the fats and juices in the meat, though, too.
So you're just changing the flavor profile of it.
I do think it has a net overall effect of lowering the potency of the sauce. But sometimes the vinegar can also kind of break down the meat and tenderize it a little bit. E, why don't you hit us with some of your tasting notes?
All right. So when I first smelled it, it smelled... I couldn't quite place it. It was not a good smell. Maybe burning leaves, kind of pungent. Maybe would be the smell. It wasn't good. And of course, I was also just like squeezing the bottle and having it shoot whiffs of concentrated sauce smell coming out of this bottle. And then the flavor, part of me wanted. I was really excited going into this. I was thinking this is going to be really tasty. I like roasted red pepper on pizza, and so I had definitely the flavor of sweet red pepper. I definitely got the smokiness too that I think you were getting, AP. I also was getting a slight bitter or tartness, and I'm not sure if this kind of. It was just it's one of those flavors that go in with just peppers. I mean, if you ever had a red bell pepper, it almost has a slight bitterness to it. I don't know if I'm reaching here, but
no, you're not.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of sweetness to like a pepper too. Like
there's sweetness, but there's also bitterness going on in there. It's okay. The skin can be bitter, and this has, you guys are mentioning about the little chunkiness in there, little flakes in there. That's roasted red pepper skin that's inside this bottle. I'm hoping
segment much like in the beer I made.
Right.
It can be added. That can
be grown in the bottle.
Added for texture.
Oh my goodness!
I don't remember the chunks being in there when I bought it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I like cheap beer, but I mean, it has to be liquid. But I'm sorry, that was too easy.
So my mom makes pizza every year for Christmas Eve. We make homemade, makes the dough from scratch.
Nice.
It's a thick style, real rising bread style pizza. Anyways, deep dish pizza. We put roasted red peppers on that pizza, and we buy a jar of them already roasted, and they come in I'm not sure if they're in water or like oil.
Probably oil. You take them out and chop them up into pieces, and to literally eat one of those right out of the jar, which I've done, and it's good, but it is a very strong flavor. And this sauce very much reminds me of that roasted red pepper out of the jar. Just like you said, you go out to go and bite into a pepper, you're gonna, this is exactly what it advertises itself to be. I don't want to be hating on it too much, but I just don't see it as a leading flavor that you want to have in most instances. Like when putting it on the cracker was just too strong. Maybe blending it into a salad or blending it into a pizza, drizzling a little bit on a pizza. Maybe we're just trying this in too large of a quantity too up front. I don't know. Okay.
That's my thoughts.
You brought up an interesting point there, E. It's tartness. I think I couldn't agree with you more. The very first bite I took of that, it hit my lips. And it burned the living hell out of my lips.
Burned
it. Almost like a vinegary. I don't know if my lips are particularly chapped more so than most. I don't think so. It's not that cold yet, but it is pretty cold, by the way. Very cold. At any rate. But yeah, so I think there was I couldn't agree with you more with the tartness comment. 100%.
You got some on your finger, Eric, and I think that was having some kind of a caustic effect on your finger, perhaps?
That was the cayenne pepper I was cutting up about 30 minutes before we started the podcast.
You're making chili, yeah?
Yep. Made a big pot of chili. I had some fresh jalapenos and
some
one
fresh ground beef.
Nice.
Fresh out of the freezer.
How old was the ground beef, Eric?
It's been in the freezer for at least 4 weeks.
So it needed to be cooked tonight.
I pulled it out of the freezer about 3 days ago. So it's been sitting in the fridge for 3 days. It needed to be cooked.
Well, you didn't have anything planned with it when you pulled it out of the freezer?
Oh, it was to make chili.
Okay.
I got free food. And I got more free food. And so then I just kept not getting around to cooking it.
The ground beef.
And as it is, I've cooked it tonight, and I haven't even ate any, and I don't plan to eat any. I'm going to just put it back into containers and freeze it now cooked.
All right. Okay. Well, that's an interesting choice. Well, I think we've been very clear on this sauce. I mean, I don't want to belabor the point at all. I don't know if you guys are kind of ready to get around to the ratings portion of this. Tori, you want to go ahead and kind of give us we've been very clear about this. You want to give us your ratings on this?
Yeah. One last note, though.
Please,
before you do
absolutely,
it. Just one last note is that it's actually, I think, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't actually been tracking this on our previous sauces, but this says it's 40 calories per tablespoon. I would have to say this is probably one of the healthier sauces we've had on our show.
Okay. Like I said, they do seem to boast the vegetable content, which I think most of the rest of our sauces are comprised of, sugar and vinegar. So
right.
They seem to the vinegar you said, or the sugar came after the roasted red pepper, correct?
It
Good Americans love our vegetables, right?
So you're probably
That's
right.
Why we're also
water, oil, roasted red pepper puree, then sugar.
That's why I don't like it. Not enough sugar.
Well,
now you can proceed with your rating there, Tori. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. No, of course. No, I'm happy you shared.
We'll just cut that out in post, anyways.
Of course.
Oh, what are we gonna do with you, Hellmann's roasted red pepper sauce? Boy. I'll tell you, I'm gonna give you 1/2 of 1 point.
Wow. A record low, I think. No, did you give what did you remember when you get the Chipotle? Was that a 0 or a 1?
Yeah.
This might be a record low.
Yeah. Can I go like quantum in it? Can I?
Quantum?
Can I express numbers the way they've never been expressed.
You could give it a
before,
0. I mean, that's
craziness.
fine too.
Well, no, I mean, I'm going to give it a 0.5, and I'll tell you why. And I got my notes right here to prove it. It would provide some type of moisture to whatever the hell I was eating at the time.
You use that first ingredient liberally, the water.
Yeah, water. Yeah. If I was dying of thirst,
It might sustain you.
it may sustain me, but that's not a guarantee that I would consume it.
You may choose.
Yeah.
Choose a.
I
choose death.
I may choose to die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Over
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Well,
And come on, Hellmann's. My best advice for you is to stick to mayonnaise.
And I think that's interesting that they chose to make a sauce that seems to have a lot of flavor, even if the flavor is questionable, when mayonnaise is, famously probably the blandest of condiments.
However, I mean, I think it's damn mixable.
I actually would not mind seeing this mixed in with like a ranch, maybe.
You know what I
Or
wouldn't mind seeing this
mayonnaise?
mixed in with?
Asian cooking, Asian flair.
Asian flair.
What did Eric say last week about
I did
Oh,
say
yeah, that's
Asian
right,
flair.
yeah.
Asian fusion dish?
Fusion.
Yeah.
You'd like to see it mixed in with a trash? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, with the trash, with whatever's in the bottom of the toilet bowl. Yeah, I mean,
Garbage
you just
disposal.
fill in the blank.
Yeah, very good.
insult lib, whatever.
Okay.
Mad lib and insult lib, whatever
Very
you
good.
like. Yeah, but I mean, 0.5. Maybe based on the merits of, I would have to say, a pretty stunning presentation. I like the present. I like the bottle.
Yeah.
He
Mhm.
said, we have a really high precision application
Right.
nodule, also known as, a
The
cap.
suck nipple.
But outside of that, I mean, the bottle is stunning. Absolutely. I mean, if this was halfway decent sauce and I would feel inclined to put it on a hot dog, boom.
Yeah, I would not put that on a hot dog.
No, no, of course not. Oh, goodness, no. I would.
I do think this is a sauce that could potentially have applications for some people in small quantities. But like you're saying, I think this may be, as far as bottle design to flavor and taste, this may be the worst ratio we've ever seen. Like, very good bottle design, very poor taste. And I'm afraid that someone, without knowing any better, might load up something like a hot dog or an entire pizza,
Oh, God love
forbid,
them. God bless them.
with this sauce and immediately have to throw the rest out. Like, can you
Horrible.
imagine getting
It'd be
a,
so
a nice
overpowering.
pizza from Domino's or something like that? Like, you just want to sit down. You don't want to cook. You just want to order a pizza. You think, hey, maybe I've had a bad day. I'll try something new to spice it up a little bit. And then you have to throw the rest of your pizza away because you've spoiled it with this crap. That would be heartbreaking.
That would truly be heartbreaking.
I think for me personally, this sauce, I'm going to be right down there. I'm kind of vacillating between a 0 and a 1. I definitely think that there's worse things you could have for a sauce.
Yeah, dog
like
shit.
If you watered down Play-Doh or something, that might be, I don't know. But I guess it does achieve some of the same ingredients as a lot of other sauce type thing. I think I'm going to go with a 1, and I think that's pretty fair. Like, this doesn't need to exist in
Totally.
the world.
That's generous.
I can't decide whether I want to never buy another Hellmann sauce other than mayonnaise ever again,
Boycott.
or if I need to try some of their other sauces just to verify the rest are not this bad.
That's an interesting topic. We didn't really talk about it, but just what other sauces? I mean, I think Hellmann's, I immediately think mayonnaise.
Well, I think this is a whole new product line that
Okay.
they're trying out. They have some other things on
They weren't
here.
shy about slapping their name on the front of it, though. They have the bow tie and everything.
Let me go onto the
I mean,
witwebsite really quick.
Truth be
here.
told,
They also have
making no bones about it.
They have, it says from the range. They have
The
a
range.
They have a roasted garlic sauce, a creamy chili honey sauce,
That sounds interesting.
and a creamy bourbon barbecue sauce. Oh, there's more here. There's a cilantro
Oh,
lime
great.
sauce.
There's more.
A cilantro lime sauce as well. And then they also have a real ketchup sweetened only with honey, which I guess is fine. And then real mayonnaise, obviously. But the 4 ones it looks like in the product line are this, 5 in the product line. This, roasted garlic, chili honey, bourbon barbecue, and that cilantro lime.
So before this product line, they made Hellmann's mayonnaise and a real ketchup.
Well, I don't know when they debuted the ketchup. I only knew about the mayonnaise. I'm not going to speculate on the rest.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, just for the record, I don't know how long we've been yakking for, but I'm still burping this garbage. I'm not having a good time over here.
So far, this has been a long episode.
Can I change my rating? at
Okay,
this
go
point?
ahead.
I'm sorry. Zero.
Going straight to
Stone
zero?
cold goose
Very
egg.
good.
Yeah, garbage. I'm sorry. Okay, no, go ahead.
I'm sure there are things that could be worse than this, so that's why I'm trying to hold off until I really get a real, just an absolute stinker. Burnt leaves, that flavor is pretty far up there to me. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Like, if I wanted roasted red pepper on a dish or in that flavor, I would buy the jar of real roasted red pepper, and it tastes
Good point.
better. Yeah, this just doesn't do it. And I'm gonna be far kinder than both of you. I'm gonna give it like I think I'm 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're thinking 2.5.
All right.
I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, don't let our
No, of course not.
views influence you.
But
I mean,
it is universally horrible, though. Let it be known.
Yeah, it's
we're
not.
all
It's
well
not
below
good.
average on this. For the record, I wanted to say this is a $3.49 sauce, I believe,
Wow, that's pretty pricey.
from Walmart
Buy 3 scratch-off tickets. You have better luck.
for a small bottle, relatively.
You said it was 3
I
and
think $3.49,
$3.49.
if I'm not mistaken. All right, well, I think that's pretty much gonna wrap us up as far as that goes on the sauce here. Like I said, we kind of came out swinging on it right off the bat.
Well, I think rightfully so. Honest to
Yeah.
goodness, really.
Not as much discussion as we needed on this one here. Yeah, a very disappointing sauce overall. I don't know, were you guys' expectations high for this?
Mine were
okay.
higher than what it was for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of roasted red pepper one way or another. Whether
I like
it's
the peppers, like he was saying. I like the peppers. I just, like I said, I'm struggling to think of what I would put this on. I could see maybe a pizza or a salad.
no,
I mean, in the idea of it, I guess, in roasted red pepper, not necessarily this sauce in
not in
particular,
practice.
but-
Yeah, the idea
Yeah.
works.
What really, unfortunately, takes away from the taste of the roasted red pepper is their attempt to make a sauce that is commercially viable, right? I mean, when we buy a jar, it's sealed, right?
Right.
And not to say that the sauce isn't sealed, but the intent is that you can put this in your fridge and this will last longer. So there's vinegar in here, and there's lemon
Potassium
juice.
sorbate?
Will it last a lifetime? That's the question.
There's lemon juice concentrate later down in the flavors
Okay.
as well, along with mustard seed and paprika.
Your typical things.
Yeah, but I think that those flavors are muddying it in a way. Like it's no longer just a roasted red pepper. It's now got this funk to it. I don't know.
I don't think there was that much thought put into it, quite frankly. I think they just wanted to get something that wasn't white, put it into a jar or a squeeze bottle,
And sell
slap
it.
the Hellman's name on it, and cash in.
I think you're right too. And on the similar note there, I was getting a lot of like chemically taste off of this too, and that might
Yeah.
just be my imagination, but
No, it's not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I was getting that kind of, yeah, that's what I was hinting towards.
I mean, I know you're trying to make, all these excuses for it and whatnot. I mean,
yeah, sauce is bad when you have to make excuses for it.
jeez, my niece. I mean, that's not good.
all right. Well, I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for our review on this here. Hellman's roasted red pepper sauce. And I think we're all happy to be done with it for that matter. I think we're going to have
Yeah.
to really decide who we're going to pin this on after we're done with it. It might
Whose
just
trash
be
can is this going to go into?
I know that Eric's not going to let it go to waste, so if we just let it here, he'll
Can't do
put it.
that.
He'll put on his chili or something. You got any closing thoughts there for us, E?
Now I'm starting to burp it up. You know what? Just people beware. We're here to try some funky stuff out for you. And if you see any sauces that you're going down the condiment aisle, like, that sounds weird, let us know. We'll be happy to subject ourselves to the punishment.
I think that's a really good point, E. Thank you. Yeah, I thank you for making that clear.
I want to state for the record, I'm not burping it up. I am starting to feel a little ill, if anything.
Dude, this shit's weird. I mean, let's just be frank. I mean, it's weird.
Tori, you got any closing thoughts for us
Oh,
here?
boy. Well, yeah. I think, obviously, it's really clear that we didn't like anything about this sauce. And, hey, whatever. That's how it goes. But thankfully, you, I, everyone listening at home, we are all in a great position to change what we don't like about ourselves. So if there's something that you don't like about yourself, very different from this sauce is gonna stay horrible. It's gonna suck until the day it goes into the garbage can. But you don't have to. You can make the change and you can be better. So just, if you want to, be our guest. We would welcome you to do so. And thank you for listening, of course.
And I would just like to say, if you are that person and you're having a little bit of a rough day or a rough week, and you go ahead and maybe you were the person who bought that Domino's pizza and you really needed that in your life, you put this sauce on it and then had to throw that pizza out, and you're really going to bed feeling sorry for yourself about the way that your life has gone. Just bear in mind that sometimes, better things are coming for you. Keep in mind, bear in perspective, sometimes there's always things that could be worse in your life. Sometimes there's things that really matter, like your family and your pets and people you care about. And those are really the important things in life.
That's right.
So just keep sticking it through. If nothing else, keep it sticking it through for them. That's all. A touching little memento for me for the first time on this podcast,
well
episode
done.
9. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Wow, hey, what a show. Don't forget to drop us a line. Our email is saucespoken@gmail.com. Why don't you stop on by on Twitter? We're at Sauce Spoken. We'd love to hear from you. Send us a recommendation or a request. We'd be happy to hear from you. And finally, on Instagram, we take goofy pictures every once in a while. We like to throw them on there. That's going to be Sauce Spoken Official. Please share us with your family and friends. Give us a review, a subscription. It would be an honor. Or just a little note down there at the bottom. Just let us know how we're doing. That would be terrific. But we are Sauce Spoken. Once again, really glad to have you here tonight. Thanks for listening.